Hello, my clock says 8 o'clock Eastern, so I thought we would go ahead and get started tonight. Welcome back for those of you that joined us on Tuesday, and hello to those who did not. Welcome to What Are Core Words Anyway? Let us help you get started, part 2. My name is Brittany Toney, and I'm a speech-language pathologist and assistive technology consultant for Saltillo. So welcome. Okay. So just some information about this presentation before we get started. This presentation will focus exclusively on Saltillo products and applications and will not include information regarding other similar or related products and applications. However, I will tell you, just as I did on Tuesday, that although we will be talking about Saltillo products and I will be demoing a word power vocabulary, that doesn't mean that you cannot use the same ideas that I'm going to share with you this evening with other products, applications, whatever communication system that your student or child is using. So just know that. And some disclosures for tonight. I am a financial employee owner of PRC Saltillo, and I am an ASHA member. Okay, so what are our goals for today? We are going to review modeling and aided language input. We are going to apply strategies for selecting and implementing core vocabulary with AAC. And then show how to navigate word power to create novel sentences within activities. Okay, so if you missed Tuesday, this will be part of what we talked about. If you attended on Tuesday, this will be a bit of a review, but it's going to be quick. So on Tuesday, we talked about aided language input and modeling. Those terms are used interchangeably, but pretty much what that means is communication partners highlight symbols on the AAC system as they interact verbally with the person using AAC, with the end goal being to teach language. This is so important because when you are interacting with an individual who uses AAC, and if it's new for them, it's like learning a foreign language. So as we talked about on Tuesday, language in equals language out. Modeling is basically speaking AAC. So another way I like to describe modeling is just demonstrating or showing. So you're demonstrating or showing those pathways to the AAC user and how to get to specific words. Just as a child who is verbal will watch your mouth movements and how you say things, how you respond to them, it's the same, but just using the child's or the AAC user's device versus your verbalization. So you're going to speak verbally, but as you're speaking verbally, you're highlighting those words, you're showing them where they are on the device, and then hopefully they pick up on that, and then that equates to communication via AAC. So that's kind of a little background on that. In addition, we talked about how we could improve what we are doing as communication partners. So we as communication partners often take most of the turns. So instead of that, we recommend waiting and looking expectantly. Waiting as long as 10 seconds or more sometimes is huge. So after you model on the device, wait for that AAC user to respond to see if they understood what you said, if they can answer your question, or if they can add to the comment that you made so that we can get that novel communication. Instead of asking mostly yes and no questions, we want to ask open-ended questions. And if you're unfamiliar with that term, open-ended question, that just means a question that cannot be answered with a yes or no response. So instead of asking a question with yes or no, like, do you like bubbles? We could ask something like, what should we do with the bubbles? And then that way it gives them a chance to describe or an opportunity to communicate and request actions. So Otherwise, you can only respond to do you like bubbles with yes and no. So asking those open-ended questions is huge. We also encourage you, instead of interrupting, which I've been a culprit of that myself, is to wait for them to respond and then provide active feedback. So even if you think they made a mistake, you're responding to that mistake. I used the example on Tuesday of a child who we were practicing pronouns, and he said, I would reinforce every time he said I eat with a Skittle. I was just giving him Skittles for that request. And then one time he said, you eat, and I ate some Skittles, and he looked at me in shock and immediately went back to his device and said, I eat. If I would not have assigned meaning to the word you and gave myself the Skittle instead of him, he probably wouldn't have understood what exactly he was saying. So it's important to provide that active feedback. We want to focus on the person instead of focusing on the technology. What do they like? Take a walk through their day, finding out what they like to do, what don't they like, things like that. It's going to help them. It's going to help motivate them to communicate with us. And of course, all of those things together provide opportunities to model instead of the above, which do not provide opportunities to model. So just thinking about all of those things together. When should you model? And I think this is important for parents to hear. I don't want you to rethink the wheel. So think about a time during your day that you're already communicating with your AAC user and use that time of day. If you're getting dressed in the morning, get out the device and say something like, oh, what you put on. Or if your child's only at a 2-word level, put on. We're going to put on our clothes. And maybe you only model the words put and on. And I'm going to show an example of what this might look like with a book later, just so you have an idea. But I think it's important to focus on daily routines and just starting small with one activity a day. And if you're in a school setting and you're an SLP at a school, maybe you pick one activity for you and the classroom teacher to work on throughout the day that's not out of the ordinary. So if teacher reads a book every morning to the class during morning meeting, maybe that's when you get out that device. Or if they're saying like, who's here today? Maybe you have the student ask that question, who's here? And you're modeling that for them. So don't think outside the box. Okay. So that's it for our review. Any questions before I keep going? Just chat them and I'll stop if there are. Okay. So these are the handouts. I'm going to help you create a little toolbox for core words and implementing this. So implementing these ideas of core words. So you will find choosing reasons or functions of communication, choosing core vocabulary activity first handout, and a core word plan. We're going to go through the core word plan together with a book after I show you an example, but these are all going to be part of your toolbox. Okay, so what are some strategies for language development? How do we teach these AAC users to communicate using core words? So there's a couple different strategies and ways that we can go about doing this. We can use words first or activities first. So we're going to talk about words first. So with words first, let's take a look at the list on the left, and I'm going to pick 3 core words that I like teaching the most, and those would be more, stop, and go. I think those are really powerful words that we can start with for a very early AAC communicator. So can we use the words more, stop, and go during morning meeting? You can chat in the chat window. I think this is more of a rhetorical question, but if you have questions about it, let me know. Yes, the answer is yes, we can. Yes, right, Kristen. Yes, you can. You could more book, or stop touching me, friend next to me that likes to touch my stuff. So you can use those 3 words during morning meeting. You can also use them during snack time. I want more snack. I want to stop eating so I can go outside and play. We can also use the words more, stop, and go when reading a book. Go to the next page. Go read the book. So you can use those 3 words during all of those activities. Do you think stop is better than all done, which is what most therapists at our schools here use? You know what, Rajul, that's a really good question. It's really up to you. I use the words stop, finish, and all done interchangeably because I feel like they have a very similar meaning. So it's really up to what your AAC user is used to. The other reason why I use stop sometimes is because it's a one hit in word power most of the time versus all done is like a sequence 2 on word power 60, which I can show you later. It's a 2 hit. And then some other vocabularies don't even have all done on the homepage. It's finish and stop. So it's really up to you. That's a good question though. Yeah, no problem. I've used them interchangeably in the past. Okay, so if we're looking at this example, we're going to pick a list of core words and integrate them across some different activities. So this is in your handouts. This is research done by Gail Van Tatenhove. I got to meet last year at ATIA and I geeked out because she's amazing. Anyway, my own nerdy speech geek in me. If you've not heard of Gail Van Tatenhove, go check her out. Her stuff is amazing, especially for teaching young adults and adults with severe communication disorder. So she's amazing. Anyway, okay, so if we were looking at these 8 words, all done, help, want, mine, more, stop, that, what are some Gail Van Tatenhove? It's in the little gray box and it's here, I'll spell it for you. There you go. No problem. So if I'm going to ask for your participation again. So what are some combinations? Thank you, Sue. Yes. What are some combinations that we can use with Play-Doh using just these 8 words? And remember, we're trying to think of ways that we can use these words to comment, request action, request objects. What are some combinations that we could use? Yeah, want more, want mine. Only those words, yes. Stop that, yep. Yeah, I mean, there's endless combinations, which is all done, mine, yeah, great. Which is why, Sarah, I said only those combinations, because look at how many different ways you can use what that. I like that one, Susan. A question word. Look at how many ways you can use just those 8 words. Now, I'm not saying that your AAC user can only have those 8 words on their device. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just a way to illustrate how many combinations we can come up with such a limited core 8 vocabulary. So, okay. What about ball? And you can use the word, you can use the object. Sorry, I don't know if I said that. Like you can use the word ball or whatever. So you can use those same combinations with a ball, right? Help, want ball, or what that? That ball, want ball. Yeah, exactly. Good, Sarah. Yeah. Yep. All done ball. Yeah. Okay. And then blocks. Same thing, right? We can use all of those same combinations with blocks. Yeah, ball mine, blocks mine, stop, blocks mine. Yes, so yeah. Yep, perfect. You guys get the idea. Okay. So now that we've looked at words first, let's look at activity first, because honestly, I often would do activity, think of an activity first based on what my client was interested in, and then choose words that go along with it, unless we were working on a very specific function of communication, like asking questions. So this is how I often did it. So do you hide the rest of the words? Oh, Kristen, good question. I typically show them all. It was just an example of if we're teaching those specific words, those specific 8 words, those are the ones that I'm going to model for the client that I want him or her to learn. But I typically would encourage you to show them all if possible. Now, some clients can't handle that. We have to slowly increase the amount of words that are visible to them, and that's fine. Or you could do something like, I know with our Nova Chat devices, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other companies, you're able to do this too. I know PRC, our sister brand, you can. You can highlight the words, like the border of the words, to highlight the core words that you're going to be teaching. I can also show that later if you're interested, but so you can highlight, make the border a different color of the specific core words that you want to teach during the session, just to give more, yeah, sure can. Okay. So activity first. This is in your handout, and this will show you, it lists the various core words for different functions of communication, all surrounding the activity for bubbles. So for example, we have question words and action words and describing words, all surrounding the activity of bubbles. That's why I like this. I really like this form because it kind of draws attention to those different functions of communication, which I feel like sometimes I would get in the zone as an SLP, and I would, sorry, I thought my dog was, my dog was saying hi to me. I would get in the zone, and then I would forget to include words like question words and those negation words and things like that. So this is just a nice form to help you plan that activity for your student. This is just another way to represent this. Yes, Rajul, stop dog, yes. Love it. This is just a different way to represent this. So as you can see, I have 1 word core words on the left, and then there's 2 3-word combinations on the right. So this is just a way to represent that, given the different functions of communication. We have requesting, like I play bubbles. We have asking where, describing big, or we could say small bubble. So what else? So books are a great way for selecting and teaching core vocabulary, which is what we're going to go through together tonight. So you will see in your handouts the core word plan. This can be used as a planning document to focus on the content or subject matter of the book that you are choosing for your client. So maybe it's a book that the whole class is reading. That'd be a good time to use a form like this. It can act as a lesson plan that expands to other activities. And we'll kind of zoom in on this in a little bit. So check that handout out. Okay, so we're going to start with a book. And this is one of my favorite books. I really like it because I Went Walking by Sue Williams. Have most of you heard of or read this book? I'm going to read it in the video, but just curious. It's a really simple book. It's repetitive, which is great for individuals who use AAC. No, that's okay. I'm going to read it. It's very similar to Brown Bear, which we're going to go over together in a little bit as well. It's very repetitive, which is great for AAC users because we can continue to model those repetitive words over and over again so they can see those pathways. And there's a couple ways that you can do it on Word Power. Yes, Jennifer, exactly. Great repetitive text. And it's colorful and it's fun. And there's so many extension activities that you can do with I Went Walking. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this. So let's get started. So this first video, you're going to see me, let me make sure. Yeah, the home page. Okay, so this is Word Power 60 Basic that I have up on my device. This is the home page of Word Power 60 Basic. And then in the next video, I'm going to show you a different way that you can model using I Went Walking. Let me know if you cannot hear the video. All right, let's read. I went walking. I went walking. What did you see? I went for a walk. What did you see? I saw a black cat looking at me. He was looking at me. I went walking. What? What did you see? I see a brown horse looking at me. He was looking at me. I went walking.
I went for a walk.
What? You see? What do you see? I saw a red cow looking at me. He was looking. See him look? I went walking. Do you like to go for a walk? What did you see? I saw a green duck. Okay, for sake of time, I'm not going to go through the whole video, but you get the idea because I want you to see the other one too. And just to note, as you can tell in the video, sometimes I use the correct grammatical form that's in the book, such as looking, but sometimes where it said, I saw, I just said, I see. And that's okay. Mix it up. It's okay for kids who are using AAC, especially early communicators using AAC, to not be using correct grammar at first, and to B, for you to not model that because it's a little above their language level at that time. So that's okay to not be modeling that at first and just slowly build that in as their language grows. So I just wanted to note that. That really upsets parents. Oh, not using correct grammar. Yeah. Yeah, I know it does. And I think if you explain it as, again, a foreign language, because when I first learned Spanish, I was not speaking correct grammar. Remember how long it took? I mean, it just took me forever to learn the correct grammar of Spanish. There's a lot that goes into it. And how often, we go years, and, even if you're learning English, we have grammar classes, right? Of what correct grammar is, why we have it that way. That takes a long time. So yeah, I know when I explain it to parents like that, I think they get they understand a little bit better, but it's okay to model. It's okay to model the correct grammar if you want to. For some kids, it's overwhelming. For kids who can handle it though, that's fine. Visuals. So you don't model hitting the clear button as you go. And the first time you said, only you see, next time I think you said. Yeah, so great question. So hitting the clear button as you go, it's really up to you and your AAC user. You can model that clear if you want to, or you can leave it up there. So I wasn't, just for the sake of the video, because it was going to take me, just so I could continuously read the book fluently. So it's fine if you're doing something like that. If you would like your AAC user to learn that, then I would encourage you to model clear. And the reason why I was switching, yes, I was trying to highlight different words throughout the book and not highlight just the same repetitive one. But you can, again, if your work just for instructional purposes, for you guys to see the difference, again, if you're working on the word go, for example, you can model just the word go, or I go, or you go, or maybe pick a couple words from the book. I was trying to show what it might look like if I was varying it, especially for a later communicator, using AAC so they could see the difference. I hope that makes sense. Is there such a thing as modeling too many words? Yes, there is, Kristen. That's a great question. That's another reason why I kind of varied it a little bit to show you what a 2-word versus 3-word versus... So my rule of thumb is to keep it 1 to 2 words beyond what they are currently saying. So, for example, if your AAC user is only using 1 to 2 words to communicate at a time, I would only model maybe 3 words or 4 words and no more than that. Because just as if you think about how you talk to a verbal child, especially a young verbal child, you don't often speak in full sentences, right? When they're first learning language. Now I do because my daughter's 5 and she can understand that. But when she was little, she couldn't understand that many words. It's a lot for them to take in. Same thing with AAC. Again, the language, how we teach the language is essentially the same. So just remembering that, yes, 1 to 2 words beyond what they're currently saying is what you will model on the device. Visual. Yeah. Yes, yeah, we do simplify when we speak to toddlers. And yeah, I think that's, not to clear after every single word. Yeah, I had some kids who would clear before I would understand what they said. And so sometimes that's hard because then they can't go back and hit the button again if I said what. Whereas like a verbal child would be able to repeat it. They'd have to go and say that whole sentence again. So just, yeah. Yes, exactly. Yep. And that's exactly, for my young communicators, I did not always teach them right off the bat to use clear. And my older ones, I would start kind of building that in as their sentence length got bigger. So, good questions. Oh, I forgot this video. This one is the one, yeah, from the early books pages. Okay. What about teaching kids with no receptive language? Is it best? That's a great question, Sue. Yes. I mean, if you have a kiddo who really struggles with receptive and expressive language, yes, picking 1 to 2 words for a book like this would be fine. Maybe you're picking the word go and you're picking the word see, because those are repeated a lot throughout the book. I think that's a good point. I think you could also, it also depends, on how you are teaching those words after the fact, if that makes sense. So making sure that you're then doing these extension activities that we're going to be talking about to teach the words go and see in other contexts so they grasp that meaning. So go and see don't just happen in a book. What do we see around the classroom? Maybe we're going to talk about this in a minute, so I won't go into too much detail, but, thinking about that too. And Sarah, something static, I don't know. I had some kids who were pretty low in terms of expressive and receptive language that were able to use a dynamic display device. Yeah, I understand. Again, it really depends on the need to build up to a dynamic device. It really depends on the student for sure. I assume that I was always like the one who assumed the most competence out of anyone and any of my students. And so I would try the most buttons, the hardest device I could until I found, until they weren't able to do that. And then we'd kind of hide things or reduce the amount of buttons on the screen to maybe like a 60 instead of an 80 or 140 to help them grasp the concept. But I definitely think even 2-year-olds I've seen use a dynamic display device pretty well. Even I worked in a clinic with children with autism spectrum disorder, and I had lots of inattentive kiddos that very, as you're kind of saying, low on in terms of receptive language skills, and they were able to use a dynamic display. It takes a lot of modeling, a lot of modeling, but it worked. So again, I think it depends on your kiddo though, for sure. How do you work? So if you're picking 2 to 3 words to model during an activity, that's a great question. Again, I'm going to tell you, I think it depends on your kid. I know I keep saying that. I think it's really case dependent. I had some kids who I would work on these words with while modeling other words. I think that's important. Maybe I wasn't focusing on the words I and you and what. I was focusing on go and see, but I was still modeling those words, in a phrase, if that makes any sense. So like, I go in. So the word was go. We were focusing on go. I go in. You go in. He go out. So I'm still using that word go, but I'm still modeling other words while I'm modeling the word go. And I think for some kids, I would do the same couple words for a few sessions, depending on how they did with it. But some kids, I would move on to new words at the next session. But then the session after that, I would come back to the word go to make sure that they retained it. At the same time, though, I was also having the teachers and the parents and everyone working on those words, the 2 to 3 core words that I picked during that session to make sure there was carryover. So that's huge. I hope that helps. Okay, so let's look at this video. And this is from, and I can show you this later as well. We might go over on time, but if you guys are okay with that, for me to show you other things. But this is from our early books pages. We have a couple early books pages in our word power vocabulary files. And so this is modeling from I Went Walking from that page.
We are going to read I went walking. I went walking. I went walking. What did you see? What did you see? I saw a black cat. He was looking at me. I went walking. Walking. What did you see? I saw a brown horse. He was looking at me. I went walking. What did you see? Oh, I saw a red cow looking at me.
Okay, you guys get the idea. I'll show you, in case you missed it, I'll show you where those early books pages are. I think they're really helpful. And there's a few books. No, I didn't. That's the amazing thing about it, Megan. I'll show you where they are. I did not program this page. There's actually 2 versions of this book inside the device. Yeah. And there's 2 versions of Brown Bear. There's a couple of different books. I'll show you guys. It's pretty cool. I did not do that. That takes too much time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay. So we're going to talk about this form, this decide form. Yeah, it's in word power. Yep. I'm using a NovaChat 8, but it's in the word power. Yeah. It's a word power file on the NovaChat. So decide to build communication. So this is that form I was talking about. So determine the vocabulary. We're going to explore the vocabulary on the device, change or alter the vocabulary as needed, identify vocabulary with button capture and chat editor, practice, do practice, and expand with other activities. This is in TouchChat as well. Yes, word power is in TouchChat. This is the device that I'm using is a NovaChat. So TouchChat is just the iOS app. And then the NovaChat is the dedicated device that Saltillo manufactures. And then word power is within both. It's confusing. Okay, so this is the form, like a blown up version of it, but you have this as well. So as you can see, I have the title of the book at the top, and we're going to determine the vocabulary on the very left column. So the core that I chose for this book is I, you, see, look, looking, what, you can read it. And then there's fringe. So our fringe words are the words like nouns, not as commonly used. So those words would be animals, red, yellow, all the colors. So describing words are fringe words. Color words are fringe words, excuse me. Not all describing words are fringe words. And then we were going to explore the vocabulary on our device. So we're going to find where those words are before we model them, because that just helps you. It's going to help them. It's great. You can also change or alter the vocabulary as needed. So it doesn't have the word we in the book, but I added that. Also, the word follow instead of following at the end. And then I added the word uh-oh, like, uh-oh, what do you see? So just another way to comment. And you can add these if you want to, you don't have to, but, and then these are the sequences for what I used in chat editor with the button capture tool, which if we have time at the end, I can show you guys how to quickly use that as some of you guys on the training last night learned, gloss books, or AKA just put the symbol pathways inside the book. So that's what that is. Okay, and then the back of the form. So this is the back side of the form. Yeah, only in Windows, not on a Mac. Sorry, it's annoying, I know. There is a way actually there's a way now using, I can show you this too. It's not free, but it's on the AAC Language Lab. It's a smart chart generator. It's essentially the same thing, but you can do it on a Mac because it's through our website. So I'll show you for you Mac users. It's new. It's great. It's amazing. So as you can see on the left-hand side, there's an 80-20 rule. So you're listing the target words there, and 80% being core, 20% being fringe. And then you're going to write out some activities, and you can read through the descriptions and what each of those boxes are. But say, for example, with our extension activities for this book, something I might do, and I've done before with students, is going on a scavenger hunt for the animals. So I copied the animals out of the book, made them colorful, and stuck them around the school on the walls, and we went through a scavenger hunt in the hallway while practicing these words. What do you see? So they're looking at the same thing, but it's just a more fun way to do it. And we can say things like, oh, I see an animal. What do you see? Modeling for them as we go. And then there's some other ideas too. Okay, so here I have these words that I'm modeling. Again, the words in purple are the words that I'm modeling on the device. These other words are just words that I added, and then we have our fringe. Now we're going to explore our vocabulary. So we're going to find them on our device. So our core words are listed on the top. In red, these are words that I might just work on with early developing communicators of AAC. So these red words like I, see, and go, I might only focus on those three to not, again, overwhelm them. And then we have the fringe words below. So if a word isn't in the child system, you have several choices. So you can add the word to the system. I encourage you, if you want to do that, that you first use Word Finder to see if you can find it on the system, especially if you're using a higher vocabulary like Word Power 60. It's probably on there. So just see if it's on there first before you add it. You can also change the target word to something that is there. So for example, in a book, there's a book called King Bedgood's in the Bathtub, and it's one of my favorites. But in the book, they talk about battling. So battle is kind of a hard word for kids to understand. So instead of battle, maybe I'll put the word fight. And then you can find another way to describe the word. So for example, when reading The Three Little Pigs, wolf, I don't know if it is now, but at the time I wrote this, it was not on the device. So we added wolf to the device. We could change, in I Went Walking, we could change the target word of went to go, because went is a later developing grammatical version of the word go. So maybe I just model go instead of went. And then adding another word such as uh-oh to comment. So now you need a way for you, parents, team members, and the student to remember where those words are. So Chat Editor provides you that way to easily create cheat sheet sequences, or button pathways or icon pathways, whatever you may call it, with the button capture feature. Or you can write down the path to get to the words, anything to help you and the student remember and the team remember where they are. So if I were to write who, maybe it would be question. I go to question words, and then who is right there. We do want to practice our vocabulary together. So before you start reading or doing activities, practice where the words are with your student. You can use flashcards with the core words on them, just as you would for math facts or you SLPs for your RTIC kiddos. Reuse those same cards. You don't have to think outside the box for this. Use your verb cards, use your receptive picture cards, use your RTIC cards, whatever you have in your closet, your speech closet, use that. You don't have to use anything fancy. You can drive cars over the cards. You can put them in the box. You can throw them in a box. You can bounce a ball in the box. You can find them in the room. You can put them on the swing. I've done this before. Put them on the swing and swing the words. You can slide the word down put the word down the slide after you find it on the device. So there's lots of different ways that you can practice vocabulary without it being specifically the icon pathways from the device. And practice each word several times alone and in sentences. It's important. Expanding with other activities. This is, again, important. Using the same target words in other activities like calendar time, games, writing activities, crafts, apps. So expanding beyond just the book. So using the book to kind of give you a jumping off point. If your child can't sit and listen to a book, maybe you don't even do the book. Maybe you just do the core words during these other activities. But this is just some other ideas, and we'll talk about some more in a minute. Okay, so let's practice. Let's fill out this form together. And we're going to be using another book, Brown Bear, Brown Bear. Are you guys all familiar with that book before we do this? If not, I can read some of it. Yes. Okay. Okay. Please don't read that. Read it a lot, I guess. Yeah, I know. And I feel like, oh, goodness. Yeah, I know. It was easy. It's most everyone knows this. That's why I chose it. Okay. So in Brown Bear, what are some core words that we could use from Brown Bear to target with our student? What you see, I mean, yeah. What you see, I mean, yes. Yep. It's pretty much the same words that we just read and I went walking. That's why I also like this one, because it's like almost the same, but a little different. Or I like I went walking because it's similar to Brown Bear, but some people haven't heard of it. So we could also add do, looking or look, right? Fringe, yep, you got it. Fringe would be colors and animals. Okay, any words that we might want to add? I don't know, this is kind of up to you, but I don't know. I can't really think of any that I would change or add. Not sure. Next. Yeah. It's like it's a cat. It's a dog. I think that's what you mean, Megan. Show me yeah, I like that. Show me. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now let's see if I can. Let's identify these words using Chat Editor. And it's going to take me a minute because I forgot to turn it on. So hang on a second. I was all prepared, and except for this one. So I apologize.
Welcome to Chat Editor.
Wow, sorry, that's so loud. Okay. Let me just turn that down. Okay, so let's go back over to our form here, and I'm just gonna pop this over here so you guys can see it. This just became a thing. Expanding Chat Editor used to be so small, so I'm like pumped about that. Okay, if any of you are familiar with the old Chat Editor. Okay, so let's find our icon pathways. Well, when's the last time you used Chat Editor? I don't know. It used to be really small, and so now you can expand it and shrink it if you want to, which is cool. Oh, the corners, you just have to update it. You have to update it. Make sure you update it. If you go to like help, check for a new version online, yeah, update that puppy because it was annoying for teletherapy. Yeah, I know. We have the ability now. So great. Okay. So capture. So if I'm doing this button capture, this is my button capture down here. I just went to the top and hit that. So we're gonna, what did we say? I can't even find my thing. Oh, here we go. So, yeah, so I see, so here we go. So if I'm doing I, it's right there. It's a one hit, right? Maybe you want to use I see together. And as you can see, it's recording everything that I'm typing here. And then if I go to copy to clipboard, I'm going to come back over here to my Word doc and I'm going to paste it. It's really big, but you can resize it. And then we can go back to chat editor. And now we can do maybe like a question word, what? So there's our pathway for what. Copy to clipboard. Paste. That easy, guys. So easy. You can put these on, I know, right? Yes. You can put these on lanyards. You can put these on whatever. You can put them on a Post-it note and then put that Post-it note. So you can like glue these on a Post-it note, put the Post-it note in the book. That way you're not messing up the book. That's what I do. And then you can put that same core word in a different book. But anyway, that's how you do that. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, and then at the end, I'll show you how to do it with the new smart chart generator. I see the time. Are you guys okay if I keep going? I know we're gonna run over. I just have a few more things on the, okay. Okay, so let's go back to this. If you have to hop off, then that's fine. You won't be docked because you didn't stay on the, you stayed on for the hour, which is what this is. Okay. So questions about how to do that form? Pretty self-explanatory. I think it's a good way to practice just and to get other ideas on the back of how you can expand it. So that's why I like that form. Okay, so how you can expand with other activities. Maybe during calendar time, you use the word go, or I'm sorry, who to indicate who's here today. Maybe use the word get to tell the classmate to get the correct picture. You're using two words to expand to I get, you get. We can toys, different toys, focusing on core. So Mr. Potato Head, want red one, need funny thing, that cool, that yucky, do again. Blocks, putting on, put off, take off, I do it, you do. So all of these ways you can focus on core. Farm, that's a fun one because you can go in, go out, make sleep. Games, I have that, I do. There's fringe, squares. This fringe words can be squares on specific vocabulary words on bingo. Go fish, same thing. Do you have? I don't have. Candyland, I love Candyland. I actually just did I do a training with a coworker, Stepping Stones to AAC, and we just did a feelings presentation and with Candyland. So we played Candyland, but did it with feelings. So go check that out. It's pretty cool. But I get pink, to want. So some other ways that other books, so you can create original books, adapt and rewrite books for older students, use photographs, use books that are repetitive. Round to IC or question. So recommended book or activity for a 17-year-old. So PRC, which is our sister brand, just came out with something called the Literacy Planner. Reach out to your local PRC consultant, and if you don't know who that is, you can find it on our website. based on where you live, but I would get one of those because this year it's a book club theme. And one of the tips people who created it, she's amazing. It's all books that are geared towards middle school and high school students. So she uses books like Charlotte's Web and A Wrinkle in Time, but she breaks it down into a better way for us to model and then for our older students to understand, if that makes sense. So I would recommend that. Otherwise, there's a website. If you just type this in, Tar Heel Reader, into Google. Tar Heel Reader is a great website. It's all free. I found a lot of middle and high school themed books on there that were created by other people, but there's some that are like hygiene related or older activities that you can use with that age. Again, kind of like I have here, maybe adapting comic strips or using photographs. We did a training on it's Stepping Stones to AAC photo albums. That's a really great one. They're on our website. And so that's a really good one because you can go through photo albums with the 17-year-old and kind of look at the pictures, and we show you how to model doing that. That might be a good thing to use. So thinking of, yeah. So I hope that helps, Rhonda. Any books that you would recommend? Thank you, Sue. Look at you. You're just being my moderator tonight. Thank you. Yes. Yep. And that's the straight download. You don't even have to contact your consultant. You can just download it. Yep. Thank you, Sue. Are there any other books that I would recommend? There's a lot. Honestly, some of my favorites, I love, I'll just type them in the chat window for you. And the bathtub is a great one. Pete the Cat is amazing. The original. I don't even know what it's called. I think it's just Pete the Cat. Let me look here really quick. Going on a Bear Hunt is another one, and Don't Let the Pigeon. Any of the pigeon books are so great because they're funny, they're interactive, they use a lot of core words. Especially Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus is great for teaching no. Can he drive the bus? And then it gets the kids interacting. No, he can't drive that bus. Yeah. So in addition to the PRC Literacy Planner, we also have the Saltillo calendar. So that has books every month that we highlight, and we record the book with the icons over it, and we have extension activities all created for you. So that's another option as well. Those are great. Okay, so are past lessons available? Are you talking about the I'm sorry, what are you talking? Books with activities. Do you mean with the PRC Literacy Planner, or Stepping Stones to AAC? Is that what you hear? Yes, though, if that's what you're talking about. Stepping Stones to AAC, if that's the class you're talking about, then yes. They are available. They're all recorded on our website. Yeah. So strategies for language development. So kind of to wrap up here, use the method that works best for you and your students. Make sure that you're carrying over, keep growing, refer back to your reasons for communication. So why are we communicating? And then, so you can pick what works best for you. Again, I always chose activity first for the most part, unless we were working on question words or something really specific. But it's really up to you and your students. You can also check out more ways you can use core words at home. So let me just go here. These are consultant core word connection videos. Oh, it's so small. It's weird. But this is just a video showing some core words. This is actually me and my son. We did one, but there's tons that other consultants did as well that you can check out. These are great to send to families. Here we worked on the word more this week. I want you to go check out this video so you know how to use that word at home with your child. Or we used the word all done this week, or we used the word go. There's a video on go, there's a video on up and fast and slow. And so these are great because it gives you ideas, and the parents. And these are on the Saltillo YouTube channel or on the Explore AAC YouTube channel. I'll just show you. And if you guys have to go, we are finished. So let me just pull that up. Okay. Okay. So I'll just show you what this looks like really quick.
We can use the word more and all done to talk about puzzles. Or puzzles. More puzzles. More keys. I got one. More.
Okay, and just a disclaimer, he's 3 in that video and he is verbal, but this, in times of COVID, you do what you do to get kids to model with. So, okay. Anything else that I told you guys I would show you where those words were on the device. So let me do that. And again, if you have to leave, feel free to go. I'll stay on for a little bit to show some of you. All right, so this is my NovaChat 8. To get to those early books pages, you would go, this is the Word Power 60 basic file. This is where you go. So you go to groups, and then you go to reading, and then early books is over here in red. And this was developed, okay, so then you go to this early books page and you're gonna find Brown Bear version 1, Brown Bear version 2. So the differences between these, so I did version 2 of I Went Walking. And these are, as you can see, the animals and the colors are separated. If I go back to books and go to I Went Walking version 1, it's more simplified. So it's going to be the same with Brown Bear.
Brown Bear.
As you can see, it is a little more simplified. And then if I go to version 2,
Brown Bear.
they're separated again. And then we have What Do You Like? Big Green Monster. No, David. I like that one.
No, David.
So yeah, and then you can add your own. And the template is there, which is cool. Have a good evening, guys.